Hi everybody and welcome to MomDas Life Handmade and Happy New Year everyone. Today I have a very interesting project for you. I was just going through the closets and organizing things and I found this little sweater. It's machine knit skeevy sweater. It belongs to one of my kids and they outgrew it long back. It's really teeny tiny, but it's just stayed hidden somewhere. So once I took it out, I thought I can make something very useful for this winter season. So I plan to make a cap and 2 fingerless gloves with these. This is going to be really interesting. As 2019 is coming to an end and 2020 is beginning, let's convert something old and make it new. From trash to treasure. So I turned something old into new, a trash into treasure. Yes, that's what I love doing. I love picking an ordinary item or something that's just lying around in the home, something very ordinary, something somebody's trash maybe, and turn it into something beautiful and useful. I love what I created, and I love to do a lot of DIY, decor, home recipes, so everything within a budget. And if you love such content, do hit the red subscribe button given below the video and hit the bell so that you're notified each time I post a video. You can even subscribe to my channel by hitting the icon given in the bottom right corner of the video. Let's see how I made this. Now I'm going to start by taking my sweater inside out. Once you do it inside out, the seams come out and the sweater can be laid very flat on the surface. So after turning my sweater inside out, I lay them flat so that the seams come on the side and it's neatly done. So now I'll just cut the sleeves out. As you see, I've just folded it. And this is the midline. I'll keep it along the midline so as to get a clear straight edge here just below the armpit stitching area, and I'll cut it. I'm just going to keep my hard work to the minimum. So I'm not trying to open it or anything. Just cut it out with a sharp pair of scissors. No measure, no pattern, nothing required. This is a pretty simple project. Now these are going to be my fingerless gloves. Now I'll turn this piece inside out because the outside is pretty neat. So I'm going to keep it just like this. And I'll hem the raw edges so that, yeah, I'll hem the raw edges because that will be the portion which will be on the towards the fingers. So it's easier if I put my hands in and then I fold the raw edges inside like this all around. And one can machine stitch, but I decided to hand stitch and I'm going to use blanket stitch to do this. I found this chunky yarn in my stash. It's not pink, it's dull soft red. One can machine stitch and add some lace, but I'm showing how one can do blanket stitch. So this is single. I haven't put any knot at the end also. It's a single strand of yarn. And here is the folded. Whenever I take the needle through, I'll make sure that I take 2 layers together. So I'm coming from inside because I want the final knot to stay inside. Inside, I'm coming out. Just a little outside so that it's easy to take the knot. Make a loop like this. So this will go in, make a loop and come out again. From this end I'll make a loop with this because I want the needle to come to the edge of this border. Like this. This is how the first stitch goes. The next stitches are going to be easier. So keep this loose strand away from the working area. Fold the edges. You see, it's already inside the loop and the first blanket stitch. Again, through both the layers, the needle comes out with this end looping around like this, and again it comes out and the second stitch is done. Make sure that this lies on the edge, and every time one takes double. I have already reached the last blanket stitch, and this was my starting point. So now here I'll just come to this side of the loop, go in and come adjacent to the starting point. Sometimes it gets tangled, don't let that bother you, just do it. So the outside it will not show, and in the inside just knot it maybe twice or thrice so that it doesn't come out. And cut it. So this is done. Now I've already done one for the left hand, and here is the closure which would separate thumb from the rest of the fingers. So now for the right side, I'll place this joining or the stitch line towards the palm side, and I'll insert my hand in. To get an idea of where will I do, and I'll stretch my fingers well. And this is the point where I need to stitch. So I come out, and this is where I want to stitch. So here I used 3 daisy stitch or chain stitch to form a flower like thing. I'm going to do the same here. Again, I'll start by keeping my thread inside. So I'll just keep the thread inside, come out, leave a little thread to tie the knot. Now here I am. Now this is a pretty flower kind of stitching style. I'll just make a loop. I started from the same point where I came out, not the same point, just adjacent to it. I went in, pulled both the layers, came out a little distance away, made a loop, pull it out, and go in a little ahead of it. Bring my thread in little below this design. You can use any kind of stitch. One can even cut this portion like a V and stitch it, but I just wanted to keep my work to the minimum, so I went ahead and did like this. So I'm putting 3 petals. This will automatically form the V shape. And outside it will look like a little flower. The back side is also pretty neat, so I'll just go in between the 2 layers, because I want to put my knot inside. I don't want it to show, so I've just inserted the needle inside. I'll turn it all out, pull the needle out. Now here was the end, when the starting point, and tie a knot here. Put 3 knots to secure it well and cut off the excess. Now I will just use some crochet needle to pull them through this so that it doesn't peek out, or just cut it close to the edge. So the 2 sides are ready. Now one can further embellish them by adding decorative stitches here, or maybe ribbon, lace, or some fancy buttons. Or I finished my fingerless gloves with some decorative stitches on the front. Now this is the leftover body part. It's again inside out. Now this is a hand knit woolen cap adult size, and I'm going to use the adult size itself because this is stretch. It would stretch to accommodate the head, and with growing children I think adult sizes are good. Now keeping it just near the edge, I'll cut along this about an inch or so around it, and then stitch it. Now one can just make a straight edge and put everything together, bunch everything together and tie a knot, but since I've cut it in a curve, I'll just stitch it along this line like this, and then maybe interlock it so that it will not fray and this open edge is secure. Now I've already stitched this edge. Now just turn it over and it's done. Now this is the closed edge. I'm going to use this yarn again, and so it will form a set, and I'll do a neat blanket stitch. The only thing, I'll go a little deeper so that the stitch is very well highlighted. I think I'll add a pom-pom on the top of this. Now that the lower edge is done, I'll make the pom-pom. Here is the leftover yarn, and I'm just going to hold it and bind it again and again and again and again. Till it's nice and thick bunch is ready. Now I'll tie it right in the center, nice and tight. Now I'll cut these loops. Now here's my pom-pom ready. I'll just put them together and cut off the ones which are like slightly trim it so that it's even. I'll just stitch it on the top, on the center, and it will be ready. My fingerless gloves and the cap look so pretty, and they make a beautiful set, a perfect thing to do for this season. I hope you liked this video and would be inspired to try a recycle project as this. Thank you so much for your time and appreciation. I'll see you soon in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.